All right, hello everyone, and peace of Christ, all of you. Please invite your friends and share the link with whoever you can. Today, our topic is about outdated beliefs in Islam. Now, the title says 10 shocking, but the fact everything in Islam is shocking and outdated. But we will speak about some of it. We cannot cover everything in a short video. Uh, we hear always Muslims speaking about how amazing the Quran, how amazing the teaching of Allah, scientific discovery in the Quran, which is absolutely false and nothing but fabrication. But because you don't speak Arabic, we can change the translation to make it fit with what it's called science, and we say Quran teaching science. Mermaid is what Islam promises us. But the difference is that those females, they are in heaven, not in the water, and we can see through the marrow of their bones. But first, let us see what the Arab in the time of Muhammad said about the Quran. Islam is outdated since the time of Muhammad, not now. If you go in the Quran, we will find tons of verses, as we see in the screen. The Arab saying to Muhammad, this is nothing but fiction and fairy tale stories. We heard it before you are even born. All those verses in front of us saying the same. You can click at any verse you want, and you will see all of them are saying the same. So Muhammad, he came with stories which is nothing but the tales of the ancient, fairy tales of the ancient, and the Arab, they say to him, we know those fairy tales before you, and they are nothing but fairy tales. And they accuse him to be a liar. They did not say, well, you are saying something we don't accept. They are saying, we are saying something we knew already. It's a fairy tale. We heard it before you. And as you see, this is all over the Quran. Not once, not twice. It's all over. It is nothing but the tales of the ancient. And the tales of ancients is all over the Quran. As an example, from the ancient belief that if a man have orgasm first, the baby will be a boy. If a woman have orgasm first, the baby will be a girl. And Muhammad, he adopt this and he make it his own science, claiming that his God taught him that. But all of us, we knew that this is nothing but false. It's a fairy tale. Even Muhammad, he claimed that the sperm of the man stay in the woman for 50 days, and this is where the baby is created from. If we go in the Quran, we will find the Quran is speaking about things which is really crazy and far away from being truthful or even close to be truthful. Let us see this one as an example. As an example, remember, all those verses in the Quran is speaking about the sperm. But maybe you do not know that Muhammad claimed that Allah, he transformed the sperm into a dead blood, and this is how the baby is made from. And the reason the ancient, the fairy tale stories, where this is coming from, because when a woman, she have discourage, she bleed a lot, and like the baby is not complete yet, so like a piece of meat is coming out if he is like in late age or a stage of the embryo. So the ancient believe that the sperm, because the man, he insert a sperm and then we got a baby, so it's obviously it is the sperm, the ejaculation of the man is what making the baby, and that is become a blood. And as you see, Muhammad here is explaining in a very funny way how the baby is created. Yet the Muslims, if you watch their videos, they claim that this is a scientific miracle. Now, have you ever heard of any scientist accept that the sperm transform into a congealed dead blood? That is impossible. For the Muslims, in order to change this, which is hilarious, they try to play with the translation to fix it, but it's too late, because as you see, Muhammad, he made it clear that the one who have orgasm first, he will decide the gender of the baby. To the point, even Muhammad, he claimed that in chapter 86, verse number 6 and 7, that women have a sperm coming from her ribs, and the man have a sperm coming from his backbone. And actually, if you go here as an example, this is Ibn Kathir. Let me show you on the screen. Ibn Kathir is supposedly a Muslim scholar who came way after Islam, actually, which means he make him more, let us say, educated to defend Islam. And actually, Ibn Kathir, he did not make his books to explain Islam as much as to defend Islam. So you see Ibn Kathir in the mood of defense, saying the following: that Allah, he created the man from gushing water gushing forth, meaning the sexual fluid that comes out bursting forth from the man and the women. Thus the child will not proceed or produce, sorry, will produce from both of them by the permission of Allah. And then he says, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. This is the Quran now, meaning the backbone of the man and the ribs of the woman. So Islam, with the outdating fiction stories from the old people, nations before, they believe that okay, women, she feed baby from her breast, and look like the source of life for the baby from the breast. So they come to a conclusion. So women, she have a sexual fluid, and that sexual fluid make the baby happen, and it's coming from her breast, and actually from the location of the necklace exactly. And Muhammad, he explained that by the help of his God, and he says, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs, the backbone of the man and the ribs of the woman, it is a fluid. The fluid of the woman is yellow and fine in texture, and the child will not be born except from both of them, i.e. the sexual fluid. And this is false, and this is not smart at all. But this is what we saw when the Arabs say to Muhammad, this is nothing but a fairy tale stories, we heard it before you. So Muhammad and the Muslims after him try to defend the Quran and try to explain and try to say to you, nowadays they refuse to say, oh, this is the Quran saying from the backbone of the man and the ribs of the women. But the fact it does says that, as you see. And this is not our website, this is the Muslim website, and this is their books, and we can read all the interpretation. Muhammad, even he tried to explain for a woman who have a dream, sexual dream, and he explained to his wife, when his wife, she was surprised that women, she have this charge, as you see in the hadith here. And the word hadith, for those who do not know, is a speech of the Prophet or his companion. So the Messenger of Allah, a woman, she came to him and she said, if a woman, she see dream the same as the man he see, and you know what I'm talking about. The Messenger of Allah said, if she sees that she has this charge, so she have to perform a bath. Okay, it is something she sees where? In her private part. Salama said, the wife of the Prophet, oh Messenger of Allah, does that really happen? Which means, does the women have this charge? Because obviously the wife of Muhammad never have this charge. He said, yes, the water of the man is thick and white, and the water of the women is thin and yellow. Which one of them comes first? The baby resembles the parent, which means either a girl or a boy. And this is absolutely false and funny. So Muhammad claimed that when the women, she have a sexual fluid in her private part, that what make the baby. And the man sexual fluid is white, and the women's sexual fluid is thin and fine, and that both is a sperm. That's why the Quran says we created man from a sperm, but the sperm is the sperm of the man and the sperm of the women, as we showed you in chapter 86, verse number 6 and 7. If we continue with more fairy tale stories in the Quran, which is endless, but we will show some to keep the video limited. The Quran teach that the best way to treat your family, to have a successful family, is to beat your wife. And the Quran teach that if a man is married, he is in charge of the women, and this is in chapter 4, verse number 34. The reason for that, Allah gave him the charge because simply he spent his money on the wife. So the reason, Allah, he says, men are in charge of women because Allah had made one of them excel on the other, because they spend of their property to support the women. So because the man, he supports you by his money, now he have the right to do the following: So good women is the one who obedient, guardian in secret which Allah has guarded, and as those who you fear rebellion. Here rebellion is not about a woman she she is cheating or no. Like you say to your wife, make some tea for me, and she make a noise like she is not happy with it. That is a fear rebellion, that she is going to go rebellion. She don't like the order. So those women, admonish them, which means scream at them, says, you know, don't do that again. Punish them in the beds. This false translation, it says jail them in the bedroom. You jail them in their bedroom and scourge them. However, you can choose which one of them you want to do. All of them, one alone, depend in the situation. So because you spend some money in the women, you have the right to beat her. And this is not only outdated, this is disgusting, because what is the marriage is about is not about a man beating the wife. She is not, even in America, even if you beat a dog, you go to jail. So what about beating a woman? And this is in the Quran today. And the Muslim, they say to us that the Quran here saying beat the wife with toothbrush. Imagine they try to convince us that the Quran is speaking about beating the women with toothbrush, as if we are a bunch of fool. But if we go in the hadith, we will find that a man, he did beat his wife until he made her skin greener than her clothes. And the Prophet, he took the side of the man, and he never questioned the man about beating his wife. In fact, he gave him this verse saying men are in charge of women, so beat them as you wish. So when a woman, she came to Aisha, she saw Aisha how her skin is greener than her garment, and Aisha, she said, not me, look, I have not seen, she said to Muhammad, I have not seen any women suffering as much as a believing women, which means Aisha, she was witnessing that from all the women who live in town, the most suffering women are Muslims. Why? Because of the following. Look, her skin is greener than her clothes. And why? Because the husband, he was trying to force his wife into bed, and he was beating her, which means he is doing a rape. And Muhammad, he took the side of the man and oppressing the women, forcing her to the bed, and saying to her, if your intention to go back to the previous husband, because Muhammad, he made a rule that if a woman, she is divorced 3 times, she cannot go back to the previous husband to marry him again unless she sleep with the new man. So now this woman, obviously she married this man and she don't want to sleep with him. So Muhammad is taking the side of the man who did beat her until he made her skin greener than her clothes, and saying, if this is what you think you can do, you cannot. Which means he have the right to beat you, and you have still to sleep with him. So the Prophet, he acknowledged the rape and he approved it. And this is not only outdated, this is shocking and this is disgusting. If we go to different stories in the Quran, or different stories in the Hadith, or different stories in you know, like all over the resource of Muslims, we will find tons of astonishing funny stories. As an example, in chapter 18, verse number 86, the Quran claimed that the sun set in a murky water. And the Muslim today, they try to explain that and say, oh, this is how Zulqarnain, which is the guy in the story, he saw it. The fact that's not true. It is Allah who is talking, reporting what happened to Zulqarnain. And however, we have the help of a man, his name Prophet Muhammad, as Muslim they call him. He proved to us that Muslims, when they say that, they are not being truthful, because Muhammad, he said it clearly that this is how the sun set. The sun set in a murky water. I was sitting behind the Messenger of Allah, who was riding donkey while the sun was setting. He asked, do you know where this is set? I replied, Allah and his apostle know best. He said it's set in a spring of warm water. The fact, it's not really warm water, it's boiling water, hamia. So فإنها تغرب في عين حمية. So Muhammad, he confirmed where the sun set, as the Quran said, that it is, yes, it's set in a dirty, muddy, boiling water, and it's not an ocean, because remember the verse here saying spring never mentioned the word ocean. The Muslim, they will say to you, Zulqarnain, he thought when he saw it sitting in the sun that in the ocean, like disappear behind the ocean, he thought this, but this is not what the Quran is saying. Allah is saying that the sun, this is where the sun set. And actually Muhammad, he reported many times that the sun disappear and the sun goes from point A to point B, as we see in those hadith in the front of us. All of those hadith report for us one thing, that the sun go and disappear. Actually, in one of the hadith, Muhammad, he claimed that the sun go and set between the two horn of shaitan, and this is another side of Islam, shocking belief. Muhammad, as the ancient fairy tale stories we showed you in the Quran, it says that he believed that shaitan, he set between the two horn, or sorry, the sun set between the two horn of Satan. The reason for that, because the Arab, they hated the sun and they loved the moon. This is why Islam is a moon god religion. The sun for the people of the desert was always nothing but death and thirst and no grass and their animals dying and heat, so they hate it. While the moon was romantic, nice and kind, where we can walk and we are not fearing death because of the very powerful sun of the desert. So they have an ancient fairy tale that the sun is the god of the devil. She is God, powerful God, but she is evil. She is trying to destroy us. And I challenge Muslim to say to us, where Muhammad he got this, that the sun rises from between the two horns of Satan. That is funny. So if you go again, you will see that Muhammad, he confirmed many superstitions, fairy tale stories, claiming that those are knowledge given to him from God. Even Muhammad, he said, as we will see in the screen, let us open the hadith. Muhammad always, he liked to, to educate his followers. Muhammad, he said, do you know where the sun goes? And then Muhammad, he said, the sun goes and sit under the throne of Allah, which means the two horn of shaitan is under the throne of Allah, and this is where the sun set. In different hadith, Muhammad, he said that the throne of Allah is above the water. Actually, Muhammad, he believed that there is water, there is a throne of God, and his throne is above the water, and this is before the creation was created, which means before there is a sky, before there is an earth, before there is a stars, there was nothing but the following. Read carefully. It was narrated by the Prophet saying that there was nothing. Let us see here. I heard the messenger of Allah saying, Allah ordained the measure and the quality of the creation 50,000 years before his creation, the heaven and the earth, and his throne was above the water. So there was water before he created the heaven and the earth. Let us read this one. Let us see. I said, oh Allah messenger, where was our Lord before he created his creation? Which means before he created anything, the heaven, the earth, everything. He said he was above the cloud, below was air, and above which was air and water. So this is before anything. There was a cloud, and Allah is between the cloud, and his throne is above the water. And this is all is a fiction stories taken from other religion and beliefs. And remember, Muhammad and Muslims agree that the Kaaba was the house of the pagan before Islam, and the pagan, they kissed the black stone, and the black stone was white. Here we find another fiction story from Muhammad, which is, we find it very shocking story, but that will lead us to talk about something very disgusting, which is racism. Islam is a religion which teach racism in a very aggressive way. This is Muhammad claiming that Allah created the white to go to heaven and the black to go to hell. Allah messenger said Allah created Adam when he created him, and he struck his right shoulder, and from there emitted the white of spring as if they were white ants, and he struck his left shoulder, and there emitted from it a black of spring as if they were charcoal. He said, then he said, and to those who they are emitted from the right shoulder, which means the white people, for paradise, and I don't mind, which means I don't care. And then to those who they are emitted from the left shoulder, which means they are black, he said, go to hell and I don't mind. So the religion of Islam, which Muslims always try to present it that it is anti-racism, when in fact Islam is Arab supremacist white culture belief. They believe that we are the Arab, and I am an Arab, that Arab are supremacist and they are white people, and black are created for evil reason, and the white are created for good reason. And this is absolutely disgusting, and not only it's outdated, it's stupid. Because remember, the quality have nothing to do with color. Quality of a human being have nothing to do with his color. You can be Asian and you can be better than me, you can be a black and you can be better than me, and vice versa. So quality and color have nothing to do with each other. If you give a person education, he will behave differently from a person who live in an area which is poor, no education, etc. So we are the children of the environment where we are growing in. So if I grow in a poor environment, what you expect from me? I never go to school, I never learn something, and maybe I have to make living, and maybe I have to steal. So we cannot judge a human being by his color, as Muhammad saying. And actually this is not only in the hadith, but Muhammad, he confirmed that Allah will make all those who they are bad black, and all those who they are good white. So if you go in the Quran, we will find the following. Let us see here. Chapter 3 verse 106, it says يَوْمَ تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهٌ وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهٌ, the day Allah will make faces black and faces white. So what the Muslims believe, this is not metaphorically, this is literally, to the point in chapter 27 verse number 82, Ibn Kathir explained that according to Muhammad, a jassasa, which is a beast, and this beast will come from the ground and will have the staff of Moses and will hit people in their faces, either by the staff of Moses or the ring of Solomon. And all those who they are bad, Allah will make them black, and all those who they are good, Allah will make them white. So which is not only a fiction story and stupid story, but it is disgusting to say that no people enter heaven unless they are white, and no people enter hell unless they are black. And if a Muslim want to say this is not Islamic teaching, well, we can go right now and we can show the reference for what we are saying. If we go right now in chapter 27, the end chapter, verse number 82, and this is your books, this is your scholar, I have nothing to do with it. Let us zoom in and see what it says. There's a beast will emerge from the earth, which is nothing but fiction story. Again, this is not metaphorical, this is real. Supposedly it's a beast who will teach people Quran. He will speak Arabic, and he is going to, he's going to speak to you, and he will even teach you Quran, and he will punish you for not being a person who knows Quran. And Muhammad, he claimed that there is a signs of the judgment day, and one of them, the beast will come from the ground, and this beast is called a jassasa. And the sun will come from the west. Why the sun will come from the west? Because Allah will order the sun to go back where it's coming from, which is another fiction story, because the sun set and the sun rise is just a visual thing for us. It's not real. But according to Muhammad, as we showed you, the sun set in the murky water every day, and one day Allah will order the sun in order to appear from the east to appear from the west. However, here we see that there is a jassasa, which is the beast, and the beast have a very funny and weird description. Let us see where the description says. Let us see here. Just to give you an idea about how it looked like. Okay, here we go. I think. Okay, the description of the beast: its head is like the head of a bull, its eyes like the eyes of a pig, its ears like the ears of an elephant, its horn like the horn of a stag, its neck like the neck of an ostrich, its chest like the chest of a lion, its color like the color of a tiger, its haunches like the haunches of a cat, its tail like the tail of a ram, and its leg like the leg of a camel. Between each pair of joints a distance of 12 cubit. So this is the jassasa, which is going to come and will have the staff of Moses, as you see here. It will bring with it the staff of Moses and the ring of Solomon. So Islam teach that the staff of Moses is a magical staff, and the ring of Solomon is a magical, the same as the Lord of the Ring movie, Harry Potter. So the ring of Solomon, which is a powerful ring, have power of magic to control the two words, the word of the genie and the word of the human. And we will talk about that soon, that Muslims believe in something called genie, which is nothing but fiction. So there's a genie and there's a human, and both of them, they are controlled either by the staff of Moses and the ring of Solomon. And this beast is going to hit the believer in his face, will make a small white spot, and this white will be very white, and that whiteness will spread until his body will be totally white as a result, and will do the same to the person who don't believe in Islam, like me and you. And he will hit him, and he will make a black spot in his face, and then he will turn all his face and his body into black person as a result. Actually, Muhammad, he made it clear that the most person Allah he hate is someone he is a black man, which is very disgusting. Another fact about Islam: Islam as a supremacist cult believe that Muslims, they have the right to enslave you and take you into slavery. This is Muhammad talking, and he is quoting the Quran, chapter 3, verse number 10. And we can find the same hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari as we see here. The verses says, "You Muslims are the best of people ever raised for mankind." When you hear this, Muslims, it's a Quran saying you are the best of people for the benefit of mankind. This is what the Muslims, they say, they insert the word benefit. You say to yourself, that's wonderful. So Allah, he wanted the Muslims to be for the benefit of us. But the fact it is the opposite. Mean the best people for the people as the one, you Muslims, you bring them and the chains around their necks until they embrace Islam. So a Muslim who is a good Muslim, a true Muslim, is not the one who says to you, oh, you can be Christian, I can be a Muslim. Is not those who go in the stage and try to fool us saying Islam is a tolerance religion. The true Muslim is the one who go and do jihad and put the chain around your neck until you embrace Islam. That is the teaching of Muhammad. And as you see, this is Muhammad here giving interpretation for chapter 3, verse 110. So the best of Muslims are the one who enslave you, not the one who give you a hug and say, I want to live with you in peace. So this is not only outdated, this is not only disgusting, that is violence. And now, as long we are talking about violence, outdated cults, always they come with violence, because violence is the way to force your opinion on others. The Muslim, they say that Muhammad was defending himself when he attacked others, but we just saw that Muhammad saying that the best of you is the one who attack others and enslave them to force them to come to Islam. The Quran says that you have to fight. You have to fight those who don't believe in Allah and the last day. If we go in the Quran, we will find this in chapter 9, verse number 29. And be aware always that Muslims translation for the Quran is totally a fabrication. However, we still use it to prove to you how aggressive this cult is. Read with me here. Fight against such those who have been given the scriptures. So this is in order to fight and kill the Christians and the Jews specifically, as they believe not. So what the reason to fight them? Because they believe not in Allah, nor the last day, which means what Muhammad he came with, and forbidden what Allah forbid, which means Islam, and forbidden by the messenger, which means they don't accept Muhammad, and follow not the religion of truth, which means Islam. So what is the reason to kill them? They refuse Islam. So what do they say to us? The Prophet, he fight those who fight him. The verse is so clear. And this is why we find in the hadith Muhammad saying, I've been ordered to kill all mankind, not to fight, to kill. You see the word uqatil, it's to fight, to kill. Umirtu and uqatil an-nasa jami'an. I've been ordered to fight and kill all mankind until they say and testify the shahada, which means convert to Islam, as you see in the front of you, and they have to pay the zakat. You have to pay Muhammad, and you have to slaughter as Muhammad is slaughter, and you have to eat as he eat, and you have to pray as he pray, and then and only then Muhammad will not take your wife and your child and your women as sex slaves if you do that. So look how many reference, and all of them, they are very authentic, proven by all Muslims. Muhammad have an order to have a global global war on all mankind, not in a specific group. Anyone who is a human, he have obligation to fight him and the Muslims to follow. I have been ordered to fight the people, which mean all man people, all the people, and nas jami'an, all people, till they say none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and they pray like us. Not only you say shahada, you have to pray like them, and you have to face the Kaaba too. Not only you say I'm a Muslim, and they slaughter as a slaughter, which means you have to eat as Muhammad ordered you to eat, which means you have to take Islam in every step in your life, otherwise you are still going to be slaughtered. So if you do all of this, then and only then your blood and your property will be sacred to us. So Muhammad will not, he is saying it clearly, I'm a thief, I will take your wife, I will take your children, and I will kill you unless you do as I say. This is not only outdated, this is disgusting, and this is what bringing the world into chaos. Today we have many wars, all of them in Islamic countries, and everyone says I am following the Prophet Muhammad to make the earth better. So it is a holy war, holy duty, and the purpose supposedly noble purpose. They want to save you from going to hell. How? We attack you, and either you convert or you die. So you know, we saw many people saying ISIS is not Islam, but I challenge anyone to show me one thing ISIS they did is not Islamic and not done by the Prophet. Now we continue. We have tons of things to speak about, actually, not only about the violent. Violence is just a little thing of the teaching of Muhammad. One of the teaching of Islam, that if you have a child which is born of wedlock, which means from adultery, you can have sex with this child, and this is the official government website of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, chapter 25, verse number 54. And this is the interpretation of Al-Qurtubi. And actually today we made a Muslim read that for us, and they cannot deny that Islam teach that if you have a daughter from a girlfriend, she is lawful for you and you can sleep with her, and she is not considered as a daughter, and she cannot inherit the last name of her father, and she cannot get a child support, and that is evil, because you slept with the mother and now you have a child. Not only you will not, and you don't have to give any of your name, your money, your support to this baby, in the top of that you are allowed to rape that baby. That is disgusting. And here the reference in front of us, for any Muslim, you will say that this is not true. قوله تعالى نسبا وصهرا النصب, and we know we did read this in the previous video, and here it says ولذلك لم يدخل تحت قوله حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم بنته من الزنا لأنها ليست ببنت له في أصح القولين لعلمائنا وأصح القولين في الدين. So because she is not your daughter, according to the most accurate belief in Islam, this is the most accurate, the scholars agree upon, because she is not your daughter, for Islam only consider daughter to be from marriage. If she is out of marriage, if she is from marriage, then she is forbidden for you. If she is the daughter from adultery, then she is not forbidden for you to sleep with her, and there is no support for her. And this is nothing, not only outdated, this is shocking and disgusting, that there is a religion saying to you you can have sexual relationship with your child. Additional to that, as long we are talking about this, remember that Muhammad himself, he did marry a child. And here we need to ask ourselves, is that outdated from the time of Muhammad, or this is outdated now? The fact In the time of Muhammad, yes, people they used to get married, or let us say females, they get married very early. But not only females, even male, but not 6-year-old baby. That is disgusting. So you might find someone, she is 13 or even 14, getting married, because when the female she get her period, her family now they knew she is ready, she is a woman, so now she can get married. But nobody married children, and I am an Arab and I can witness that is never happened in history of Arabia, and this is disgusting. So the Prophet of Islam, he come with the new belief that children's are lawful in a very early age. This is not only outdated, this is disgusting, and this is not ethical. Muhammad, he forbid even people to do adoption, which was very noble in the time of the Arab, just because he wanted to have his own son wife. And yes, he took her, and even he flirted with the wife when the husband was away, and this is all written in Islamic books. Now if we continue, we will see tons and more stories about the fictions and the madness in the Quran, and one of them is the following. Chapter 55, verse number 33. Muhammad, he thought, and he never thought in the same time, that nobody can go out to the sky, no one. So he said that Allah, he made a challenge to all genie and mankind, that you cannot penetrate out of the zone of the earth and the heaven, and if you can try, and if you try, Allah will shoot you with stars. But as we know that today we have spaceship, and we have people going to the moon, and actually in a few years from now America will send the second spaceship, have one man and one woman, which may make it the first women ever to go to the moon and land in the moon, and I hope that will be successful. So Muhammad, he claimed that is God saying that if anyone try to leave the earth, Allah will shoot him with a star. And this is simply proving another superstition teaching of Muhammad. As an example, Muhammad claimed that the genie, they try to steal information from Allah, so they try to go out of the zone of the earth, and he explained what is the meteor we see in the sky. Muhammad, he believed that the meteor we see in the stars, those are in the sky, those are really stars, and Allah, he shoot the shaitan with them. If you read with me chapter 15, and here we see verse number 16, and verily in the heaven we have set mentions of stars, and we have beautified it for the beholder, which is false, by the way, because the stars which we see by eyes is very limited in number, while the major number of stars, which may be billions, nobody knows how many, we cannot count and we cannot see. And actually this is in total agreement with the Bible. And then he says, and we have guarded it from every outcast devil. Guarding what? Guarding the sky. The Muslims in their false article, they say this is about the atmosphere, but the fact is the opposite direction. It is the shaitan, the genie, he cannot leave the earth, not about the genie cannot enter the earth. So he guarded the sky. And if shaitan, he tried to go of this to the sky, and as you see, Allah, he created the stars here for two reasons. Number one, for decoration, and number two is to shoot the devil. Save him who steals the hearing, and them doth the clear flame pursue. In different verse in the Quran, it says the following, just to make it more clear. Muhammad, he made it so clear that Allah, he will shoot the shaitan in his bum if he try to go out of the zone of the earth. And verily we purified, this is chapter number 67, verse number 5, and verily we beautified the world heaven with lamps, and we made those lamps as missiles for the devil, and for them we have prepared the doom of a flame. So what the God of Islam claim, nothing but fictions, and as you see, this is the fairy tale stories. So Islam not only outdated, Islam is a crazy cult full of fictions. As an example, maybe you heard about the flying carpet. The flying carpet, the Lord of the Ring, is all mentioned in the Quran. If we go in the Quran, it says the following. I was trying to make the video short, but it's impossible to make. such a thing, you know, short. If you go in chapter 21, verse number 81, you will see the Quran is speaking about the flying carpet of Sulaiman, where he ordered it, and this flying carpet carry him and carry more than 600,000 chairs on it, and all his kingship equipment and war in the top of it, and he fly with it in a day, which is by noontime he can reach the distance of 1 month journey by the camel, which is very slow, by the way. So here you notice that Islam not only outdated, Islam is very, very, very outdated. And then you will see Muhammad teaching the Muslims that Sulaiman, he have a ring, and this ring can control the genie, the shayateen, and they do what for him? They do diving to bring him pearl and jewelries. So Sulaiman, he have a team of everything, and maybe you do not know that Sulaiman, he have an army which is made of human, genie, and birds. Birds. Can you believe that there is somebody believe in such a thing? Yes, that is Islam, my friend. So if we say this is outdated, I think this is not only outdated, this is a crazy, but yet the Muslim today, they try to make it, or to make Islam as a religion of science. As an example in the story, Sulaiman, he spoke and he heard the ant. And if we ask, if you go to the chapter of the ant, you will find that Sulaiman, he was amused, or amazed, sorry, by the speech of the ant. And the ant, she said to her friends, hide before Sulaiman, he crush you. But as we know, ants don't talk. They communicate as all the creatures, they communicate. But what Sulaiman story is saying, according to Allah, that he was amazed by her speech. He heard her even saying his name. The ant, she said, till when they reach the valley of the ants, the ant express, oh ants, enter your dwelling, lest Sulaiman and his army will crush you. And here there's many, you know, it's a good for a cartoon to believe that there is an ant, and there's she is the one warning the other ants, and you have to hide because there's a king, his name is Solomon. How the ant, she knew the name of the king, we do not know. And Solomon, he heard, he smiled when he heard, and he laughed when he heard her speech. But ant, they communicate only by chemical or vibration. So what speech we're talking about? How the ant, she said the name of Solomon in her language? Morse language? That is very funny, and this is very nothing but fairy tale stories. And here you will see, and there we are gathered together into Solomon, his army of jinn, and jinn is a creation made of a fire. And even the Muslim believe that genie, they can have sex with their females. This is why Muslims, they have to recite certain verses in the bedroom, otherwise genie, he might sleep with his wife, and that is very embarrassing. Actually, there's a Muslim guy, supposedly, he opened the door of his room, and he found his wife doing something. So the sheikh explained to him that this must be a genie, and you have to read the Quran, the chapter of the chair upside down. His army of jinn and humankind and the birds. So Sulaiman, he have an army as the one you see in the cartoon, chicken army, bird, turkey, bird army from all kind of birds. So he have an army of birds, he have an army of a human, and he have an army of genie. This is all for Sulaiman. All right, how he controlled them? He controlled them by the ring. How, and by the way, Allah, he taught Sulaiman the language of the birds, but yet Sulaiman, he understand the ant, which is very weird. As you see, Allah, he taught Sulaiman the language of the birds, but few verses after we find that Sulaiman, he understand the ant. It's like saying, I want to teach you the language of the dogs, and then you understand the cow. Very weird. So Quran is a collection of fiction stories, and those stories, by the way, is coming from the legend of the Jews, and I'm talking here specifically about the stories of Sulaiman. All those stories, you find it from the legend of the Jews. So Muhammad, he lived between the Jews, and whatever the Jews, they tell their kids before bedtime, Muhammad, he took it, he put it in the Quran, and he accepted as a reality. So how we can accept Islam to be from God? That is impossible. With this, I'm going to stop because the video became longer than I thought I'm going to make it, and we will go back live on air again, maybe later. Keep your alarm on. I might go arrive maybe an hour from now, I'm not sure, but if not, then by tomorrow. Actually, already we are tomorrow. So I want to say thank you. Download the videos, and don't forget, if you like to learn more about the fictions and the crazy teaching of Islam, you can always reach and get my books from Amazon. We have them in many languages: French, Spanish, English, and Swedish, and you name it, German. So you can search in Amazon of your country, and you can get the book from the website of your country. So I want to say thank you for being here. May the Lord bless you. And if you are really convinced after what you heard, and as you see, we are showing you all the reference and the proofs. If you're already convinced Islam from God, don't forget to leave a comment and tell us why. I mean, do you really believe in flying carpet? Do you really believe that Sulaiman, he have a genie who died for him? Do you believe really that Sulaiman, he married a woman, she is half genie, half a human? Do you really believe that Sulaiman, he fly from country to country just to find a woman she have no hair in her legs? So tell us what you believe, and tell us why you believe in those stories. Do you really believe if a man have orgasm first, the baby will be depend in the one who have orgasm first, the woman or the man? So if you believe in this crazy stuff, please leave your comment. If you are a Muslim, and you are more than welcome to explain to us how can be a religion and how you can believe in it. And by the way, I don't want to forget, I forgot something. What about this? Do you really believe that God will give you women in heaven who we can see the marrow of their bones? Do you really believe in this? And you know, not only I find this weird, but I understand where Muhammad he got this from. The word hur, which is speaking about very white women, is coming from the Zoroastrian belief, the Iranian, the Persian, who believe that in heaven there are special creatures who they are very beautiful women who have a certain look. They are very white, but Muhammad he exaggerate with his promises, and he went far to the point saying that we will see their bones, even the marrow of their bones. And this is not only, I mean, crazy, it doesn't look good. I mean, you promised me I will go to heaven and I will find a woman, and this woman, she is like this. I'm not sure if I will like this view at all. I think I will be scared. I think I would prefer to be single forever. I think I don't want to be next to any women like that. So when Muhammad he promised us such a promise, how this can be from God, and how a human being can accept this? And this is supposed to be beauty, and that will encourage me to believe in Muhammad. But the reason of Muhammad is speaking about how those women look like, and we will see the flesh, and we will see through the flesh and the marrow of their bones, because the Arab, they are racist and they favor white women. The more white you are, the more they like you. So, and I'm an Arab, remember, I'm not talking about different people. I know my people. This is our culture. So, which is a very sad culture. See, here you see, so Muhammad he speak to the Arab. He knew what the Arab they like. He's trying to tempt them in extreme promises. Those women, they will be so white to the point you will see the marrow of their bones. Now you be the judge. Do you accept this to be from God? And if this is God, which God is that? Learn more, read more, watch more of my videos, and don't forget to subscribe. And thank you very much for being here. May the Lord bless you. Christ is Lord, and nothing about Islam is true. It is nothing but the ancient tales, fairy tale stories, and here we expose it. Take care and God bless.